A college campus offers students many opportunities for learning and exploration, as well as situations that can be challenging to a student's way of living. One of those situations can center around drinking. Dan Dean sat down with junior history major and soccer player Jake Gorels, as well as members of Jake's social circle, to find out more about this phenomenon. Does Jake have a drinking problem? It may not be as clear as you think.
I'm a forward on the soccer team. I'm going to be a junior next year. I'm a history major.
Jake may have been fulfilling the requirement, but he was having a good time with it too. He was active in discussion. He sat in the front row, took notes. This was very flattering.
Well, we met freshman year. We lived across the hall from one another in Bornheater, actually. And I remember the first day we showed up, he was unpacking all his things, and I was in my room, and he came over and gave me a high five and stuff, and we've been friends ever since.
And you were in camp together as well for soccer?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. When we got here, that's how I knew him, you know, like we lived across the hall and we were one of the only few people in the dorm at that time. We had to get here a little bit early for soccer.
How we met?
Yeah.
Well, we were at a party, and it was actually a party for the soccer players. And I came with a couple of my girlfriends, and I saw him across the room, and he was telling some joke, and everyone was laughing and kind of being goofy and dancing. And so I walked over, and I was so nervous to talk to him, and I kind of made a little joke about the chips on the table and how I always like to eat the food at the parties, and I'm a pig, and he laughed, and we started talking, and we danced, and ever since then, I don't know, it just clicked.
This kid named Jake, who's real nice, he was in my History of the Americas class, and he actually sat next to me, and he's real funny and real nice, and for the most part a good student, I think, but he's absolutely the major one. Like, they come to his room and everybody parties there, and he definitely has a good time.
Jake has been the easiest boy to raise. He's a very good student, a good high B student, has always been interested in playing soccer and has done so well at that.
Well, they don't exactly tell you exactly what grade you're getting, you know, but I think I'm doing all right.
Anyone would want to hang out with him when you're around him. He's just one of those guys, and I was really attracted to that.
He's a great guy. He's awesome. Loves to have fun. Knows how to take care of his friends. Very loyal guy. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can't ask for much more than that in a buddy.
In this course, he's missed a number of times.
You come to college, you know, you got a dorm room, and the only person you have to answer to is yourself and your roommate, and thankfully for me, my roommate doesn't care.
I think maybe he's been drinking a little too much. And I think that's affecting just how he is.
I have to say his work is uneven this year.
If someone's saying, hey, we're going to have a party, we're going to play some beer pong, come over, we definitely head out to that.
I wouldn't say, like, you know, don't party like every night. I know some people that do party every night, but not quite that bad.
Maybe he got a C in history this year, but you know, it's been a harder semester for him.
As far as I knew, he was getting his work done and then going out.
And sometimes he comes really late to class, sometimes he doesn't come at all. And I mean, I feel bad because, I mean, when he's there and he's participating, he's real smart, and like we've traded papers to like peer edit in class, and he writes good stuff if he puts his mind to it. So he's not a bad kid. He's just, I don't know, kind of hungover sometimes.
I asked him about that. I mean, we were talking about drinking, and I said, "You ever drink this stuff?" And he just sort of shrugged it off. But he was looking a little worse for wear, and I could smell alcohol on his breath. I don't know how serious it is, and at this point, he's not willing to discuss it.
He doesn't seem worn out. He's never stressed to me. I mean, going out for him is a way to get rid of that stress anyways, of playing soccer and all the reading and papers he has to do.
I like to have a little wine with dinner, but, you know, not nothing much.
His grades have been really not going too well. He told me that he's failing a couple of his classes, and he thinks that he's just going to somehow bounce back. Like by the end of the semester, he thinks he's going to do really well in his finals, and somehow that's going to be able to save him from this.
Ryan seemed to indicate that maybe there was a drinking problem, but I really don't think so. You know, we've modeled good drinking behavior to him, so I can't imagine he would act out like that.
This semester, not so good as the others, but I'm in some pretty hard classes, so I think that's probably why. I just maybe got to pick up the pace on my homework a little bit, but it's no big deal.
I mean, you're only young once, and I don't see how it's going to affect you for the rest of your life, or if it's a big deal if you just like to go out and have fun. I think people are getting a little too overboard about that.
I mean, you can get by with like 9 or 10 beers and have a great time.
In one night.
In one night. Not in like an hour, but over the course of the night, yeah, sure.
I'd say if I have 3 drinks, like any kind of drinks, I'll be to the point where I'm need to stop. Like I'll be tipsy and having a real good time, but I won't be drunk and feeling horrible in the morning. But anything over 3 drinks is not going to feel good later.
I suppose there was a night a couple of weeks ago that Jake came home from school, and we always keep Coke in the refrigerator, and I happened to drop by his room. I was dropping off some clean laundry, and I did see that he had some rum and Cokes in his room, and I thought that was a little odd that he would be drinking in his room alone. I mean, it would be perfectly all right if he wanted to have something to drink with us. We would certainly be all right with that. So I thought that was a little odd, but I don't like to push him, you know. He is a junior, and I don't think there's really a problem.
I suppose everybody in college, they get away from home and they'll try it. A couple of things. I was no angel, but I could count on the fingers of one hand easily the times I overdid it in college.
But he's your friend, though.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean exactly he's my friend. I can't just take like every opportunity to tell him what's wrong with himself. Like I shouldn't be like, you know, Jake, you might possibly have like a cramp in your hand or like a sprained wrist. Like I don't want to take the opportunity to tell him every single problem, especially if they don't exist, because that just makes me look like a rat.
So the campus police and all that, they're always talking about binge drinking, but I mean, that's what college is about. I mean, who has like 3 drinks and then calls it a night?
Well, sure, it's something that I think about. But he's been such a good boy, and he just hasn't given us any other problems. It's very hard for me to imagine that this would be a problem.
Well, those soccer boys in general, I think that they probably, over a whole night, like 10 plus drinks, at least, yeah.
Like?
On a big party night.
Unfortunately, there seems to be a pattern with him. That it was not just one time or 2 times, but sort of regularly, and his whole behavior is a lot less sharp than it is. He's never been unpleasant, but there's been just sort of a disengagement in recent weeks. This is my concern.
Well, you can't say stuff like that to like one of your buddies.
Why not?
Because what if I'm wrong, you know? Then all of a sudden I look like a little bitch in front of him saying like, you have a drinking problem, and then he's like, oh no, I don't, and then it turns out he doesn't, and then I've like made myself look like an asshole because I called him out on something that it wasn't even like something to be concerned about.
Definitely a balance between the two. I mean, it's not like I have to swear off, you know, hanging out with my friends just so I can pass through school. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe I'll have to give up a night or 2 here and there to write a paper or whatever, but I think things are going all right now. Well enough that it's not a big deal. Like, okay, so maybe, you know, this Sunday I will buckle down and get all my work done in like one afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it before. It'll be fine.
You've probably seen students like Jake on other campuses across the country. Sometimes it can be hard to determine the fine line between having a good time and having a serious issue that requires the intervention of family and friends. Does Jake have a problem with alcohol? We'll leave it to you to decide.